On today's throwback, we're having a look at the Hasbro Spider-Man Fiercest Foes figures. We're looking today at Venom. I don't know, for some reason I just wanted to reshoot this particular video. I like the figure, and I had problems with it, as you probably remember when I did the initial review of him. But I thought, you know what, I'll reshoot the review. Why not? Why not? Package-wise, we just have a Spider-Man up at the top corner. It stays pretty consistent with all the Spider-Man figures. Down below we've got a picture of, it looks to be the Matt Gargan Venom. Of course, Hasbro going on there as well. On the back of the package, it says, with suits for any mission, Spider-Man is ready to battle his fiercest foes no matter where they hide. It says, pull back and release launcher to fire the web missile. And of course, other figures that you can pick up down below. We've got some uninteresting Spider-Mans. And Spider-Man with some armor. I don't know why they always throw armor on him. Green Goblin. He wasn't so bad. I believe that was the superposable Spider-Man. It may not have been, though. And we have some sort of scuba diving Spider-Man. But that is packaging. I am going to take a small break. When we come back, we're going to have a better look at Venom. Stay tuned, guys. There's more to come. One of the reasons why I wanted to redo this review, as it were, was because of, well, because there is so many things I like about this particular figure, and then there's one glaring problem that I really don't like about it. Now, these are things, of course, I mentioned in the original review, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a proper rating. Let's do the video a little bit better than what I had it before. So actually, before we get into my little rant about it, let's zoom in and show the close-up details of the figure. The figure as a whole is really nice. If you're a fan of like the classic style Venom, then you really can't find a figure better than this, at least of the smaller scale. This figure fits perfectly in with the Marvel Universe scale of figures. In fact, I think aside from the one Venom that was packaged, I think in a 2-pack, which I think was like it was like the later incarnation of Venom. It didn't have the tongue or anything like that. Aside from that, we really haven't gotten a Venom figure from the Marvel Universe scale. I really like the paint. I really like the sculpt on this particular figure. For as small as it is, you can even see all the little like the muscle fibers and stuff like that in the actual costume. Now, sprinkled amongst the black of the costume, you can also see that there are these little blue flecks of paint. In some areas, it kind of looks like they just splattered it on. Like in the bicep area, it makes sense. In the sides of the arms, it makes sense. But like areas in the shoulders and stuff like that, it does kind of look like they just randomly picked areas and, you know, through paint. I'm glad that they didn't put paint on the front chest area here, because I really think that would have taken away from this really nice dark black and then with the white spider symbol. You can see that Venom's got a very long tongue going on here. This was actually, there was two versions of this particular Venom. There was one without the tongue, and then there was one with the tongue. Now, I opted to go with the one with the tongue because I generally think of Venom that way, although my real favorite Venom is like the earlier Venoms where he was just basically a smiling, you know, a smiling villain. You didn't really see much of his tongue. He's got these really, really large hands, too. I mean, just and as a whole, the figure is done really, really nice. You can even see his spine going on there as well. Now, of course, as good as the figure is, there is one glaring problem. This is something I commented on the initial time that I did this video, and that is the fact that he has no articulation whatsoever in his knees. He's got squat. In fact, let's zoom in, because while the knees are really nicely sculpted, all the nice detail work in the legs and everything else, knee articulation to me seems like something that's a given. I mean, we are how far along now? We are into, what, 2012? you would imagine that, if anything, we would get knee articulation. This one particular figure, though, does not have it. It does not have it. It has it in the elbows, not so much in the legs. Now, that would really take a perfect figure and certainly deduct some points in it. It doesn't even have articulation in the ankles, but I would be willing to accept a non-ankle articulation for at least knees. We'll zoom back, though. By the way, in the way of his articulation, Venom has a very nice ball joint. You can get his head to rotate all the way around and up and down. Certainly lots of movement there. His shoulders are both on a pin and socket, so the shoulders will go out all the way around. His elbows also rotate all the way around, or his forearms. You can also bend his elbows at a hinge, which is really nice too. There is no upper torso articulation. It would have been really nice if they had put a separate piece where the upper half was separate from the bottom. You could at least rotate the upper torso, but that's not too bad. As for the legs, though, they are on a pin and socket. The legs bend out, back, and forth. You can also rotate at the thigh. That's pretty much it, my friends. That's it in a nutshell. A fantastic figure, though. Just really a shame that it didn't have the articulated knees. Now, moving on to his accessories, he has two. Well, technically he has three if you count the missile. He has this, which is a standard issue webbing. You can use it more like an axe if you wanted to. Unfortunately, though, this particular axe, I don't believe, was initially released with the Venom figure. So because of that, his hands are so large, and this accessory is so loose that it really doesn't do anything. You could probably try to put it into his fingers, but then that also just looks a little silly. This piece will likely just get tossed, or it'll just get put aside. And then maybe Rosalita will find it later and ask, what is it for? And I'll say, what is that? And then she'll just say, oh, never mind. She'll throw it out. She will throw it out. He does also come with this, which is a firing release missile. You can snap it onto his arm. On the side, it doesn't look all that bad, does it? On the inside, yeah, okay. You can kind of see it's been snapped to the arm. That's all right, though. Now, it doesn't have a locking missile. Instead, what it is actually it's a pull and release. So there's a spring inside. You're basically going to pull that missile back and fire it out. You can get a pretty good range and distance out of it. Even without the missile, you can actually get still a pretty decent looking sculpt for the arm. You can kind of pretend like it is an extension of his arm. Maybe he's, I don't know, mowing the lawn, or maybe he's vacuuming. Maybe Venom's vacuuming. This accessory probably won't stay on the figure either. I mean, I like the figure just on his own. I wouldn't necessarily start throwing accessories all over him. But I mean, really, it's such a good figure. If only it had articulation in the knees, I think it would have made a perfect figure. But still, all things considered, I think if you can still find him. Now, I've seen him sometimes still in Walmart, of all places, still kicking around. If you can find him, and you can overlook this part right here, I still think this is a great Venom to pick up. This particular Venom, I'm going to give a 7.52. Perfect figure to go with your Marvel Universe style of figures that you already have. Today's throwback, we're having a look at the Spider-Man Fiercest Foes Venom. All things considered, a pretty good figure, despite some shortcomings. But let me know down below what you guys think of this particular figure. In the meantime, I'm going to wrap this up here. I'll see you guys next time.